thank you, Wizards of the Coast, for protecting me. I haven't gotten around to really saying thank you, and I appreciate you, and I'm really happy and glad for your statement on harassment and bullying to try to stop a lot of the stuff that we're seeing in the community. We see threats and intimidation. No one should be subjected to threats and intimidation. No one should be made to feel unsafe or unwelcome. We see that insults and abusive speech can escalate into more serious forms of harassment and bullying. The culture of harassment and bullying in the gaming world has to end. People with audiences, large audiences, have a responsibility. Words matter, etc., etc. And to me, looking at this pretty clearly, it's meant to protect people like me in situations like what happened this week. And I want to thank WotC for having my back during that, and for not caving, and for not caving to the attackers and the harassers and the hate mob. Welcome in. Much love, Trav here. And so thank you to WotC. I do want to say sorry to stress you guys out in there. I talked to people in the company who are seeing some of that shit go down, and I'm sorry to make your job harder. And I also want to say to everyone that this is not about me being, I created this situation. I'm not a perfect person. It's not about being a perfect person. I've made mistakes. Some of those mistakes were broadcast widely. I think I did the right thing by owning up to it and taking action and taking responsibility. I know some of my fans and followers think that you shouldn't apologize to people attacking you, especially if they're not going to apologize and they're going to continue to threaten and try to intimidate you. And I got where you're coming from, but I think it's always the right thing to do, and it's rarely the wrong thing to do, to say you're sorry, especially if you think you made a mistake. Even if no one accepts it, it's fine. A lot of it, what you're doing is for you. And if people continue to attack you after that point, then it exposes them for what they are, as being really bloodthirsty. So with that out of the way, I don't mean to call people out for not being perfect, but I do have to generally call out the harassment and bullying, the hate mobs, the witch hunts, mass hysteria, and say that basically everything that I called out and everything that I said, my point was proven over the week, is that the community has a problem with this. Let's look at the facts of what happened. Things that I did not do. I did not call out people by name. I did not @ people on Twitter. I did not stalk people. I did not pull up the worst things that they had done and post them and shame them. I did not tell my followers to harass or attack people and cite my followers. I did the opposite of that, and I'll continue to tell you guys, leave people alone. Try to de-escalate the situation whenever possible. I appreciate all the support, but we also don't need to attack. On the other hand, what I saw and what I received was a lot of that. People stalking me, trying to pull out the worst stuff, adding me, sending all their followers after me, threatening me, intimidating me, trying to get me to lose sponsors, lose business, and stuff like that. And that's why I feel very comfortable and safe in my position with thanks to Wizards, because it's pretty obvious what happened here. Again, I created the situation, and I'm not perfect, but my mistakes in this situation have not been harassing and attacking. I will say that in the past, I did the one time that I think that I really broke this rule was with Desolator Magic, that video. I feel bad about it. I've taken it down and want to say sorry to Deso, and sorry to set a bad example with that video. Some slight background. Me and him passed shit back and forth, and I thought the WWE Stomach trial would be mutually beneficial. That was a while back, and I'm not perfect, and if I make a mistake, I'll own up to it. But in general, that's not what I did. However, I have been the target of mass shaming, mass stalking, mass threats and intimidation, bullying, and so on. You think the statement is for you, for the hate mobs? Absolutely not. Wizards Wizards recognizes they've got a problem with hate mobs. Wizards doesn't want to bow and cower. They're sick of that. Wizards has my back and people like my back in situations like these, right? So I also want to say the people in Magic for Bad who are getting reported and investigated and so on, those people posted problematic threads for sure. I don't endorse those threads. However, what they did not do is take those threads and show them to people who would find them most offensive. They did not, for them it was more negligence than malicious. They're not pulling this stuff out and sending it out there and harassing people and saying, look at this, etc., etc. That stuff became more harmful when outsiders came into a closed group, a private group, took the stuff out and intentionally showed it to the people who would find it most offensive, right? So you guys are just as responsible for causing harm. And again, on the other side of things, the response of a mass attack, mass shaming, mass intimidation, mass threatening, mass stalking, mass adding, mass hysteria just proved my point this week. And fortunately, Wizards has my back. So appreciate you guys. Appreciate the community. And I will say this, again, I've admitted to wrongdoing and owned up to it. And if anyone who's been attacking me this week has a change of light and change of face and says, hang on, wait a minute, Trav was just calling out mass harassment, and he got mass harassment as a result for that, and I was a part of that, and I feel bad about that. Sorry, dude, I got swept up. If anyone said something like that, I easily forgive you and take you in with open arms. It's hard to do that because a lot of people think it's a mistake to apologize, etc., etc. And I would really appreciate that for those of you who understand. You know, this has been paradigm shifting for me because at the start of the week, it's like, again, didn't call out anyone in particular, didn't name anyone by name. I did say MTGHQ's name, but besides that, and I didn't tell people to go after him or anything like that. But besides that, didn't name anyone by name. Just in general, look, all these people are taking things to extremes and thinking they're on the right side, and I stand by that with what we've seen happen. And I think this is a perfect example, and really showed a lot of what the issue is. So if you agree with me, holler at me. Oops, sprint. And if you want to come around and say my bad, I participated in that. That's cool too. So I just want to thank everyone, and also say I haven't been on Twitter in 24 hours. New rule, basically 10 minutes every 24 hours. For all the people who have been threatening and stalking and harassing, I don't even plan on reporting you guys because it's just not affecting me too much. I don't want to invest extra time into that situation, but I could because it goes against what Wizards is saying. A lot of that goes against Twitter terms of service as well. And a lot of you guys think you're in the right, but actually Wizards made this statement for you to stop you from doing this stuff in situations like this to people like me. So once again, want to thank Wizards. Once again, want to say sorry, Wizards, for creating extra stress and work for you. But I appreciate you. I want to say sorry to everyone who I set a bad example for, and I tried to set a good example for stepping up. I want to say sorry to people in Magic for Bad for setting you guys up for a bad situation. Sorry to people who had to see some of that stuff and became offended by it. And also I want to say sorry to everyone who got really swept up and angry at me even. I feel your pain and I feel bad for you. But no sorries for me. I created the situation. I feel good. Overall, I had a good week. And I more gained business than lost business as well for people worried about that. And I think that my point was proven. What I set out to do was proven even better than I thought it could be. And it feels good to read this and know that Wizards has my back in situations like this. And once again, I love all you guys who have supported me and sent me messages and stuff like that and defended me. But don't go after these people. Leave them alone. They'll see the light eventually, I believe. Just because the facts of the matter, you look at what's happened on Twitter and across social media. You can see who is attacking and who's malicious. intentionally malicious versus who was just negligent. So appreciate all you guys and want to say thank you, and I look forward to moving forward and continuing on with this mission. And let me know what you think in the comments. If you feel this, spread it around widely. I would really like the people who, especially the people who have mass harassed and attacked me, to see this and understand, because I know this will actually convince a lot of people to take a step back and say, that was fucking crazy, actually. That was pretty weird to mass mob this Chinese dude who's calling out mass mobs, right? And I feel like, again, not perfect person, but I feel proud of stepping up to the mob and saying, what you're doing is ridiculous, and coming out of this and still being able to say, all right, I'm not perfect, but what you're doing is still ridiculous. And thank you, Wizards of the Coast, for protecting me from that bullshit. So, yeah, I mean, that was a paradigm shifter, because as the mob came at me, it's like, oh God, what have I done? But then it's like, yeah, I made some mistakes, but nobody's perfect. Owned up to it. And actually, Wizards isn't, if Wizards takes any action, it's to protect me. It's not to harm me, because of the nature of how the situation played out. So once again, much love, thanks, and look forward to seeing the discussion. Peace out.